The canvas of artistic expression has, throughout history, been periodically rent asunder by works so profoundly disruptive they not only redefine aesthetic paradigms, but also fundamentally challenge the legal frameworks designed to protect them. Today, we find ourselves at just such a juncture, witnessing a daily revolution in the gallery of masterpieces that is less about oil on linen and more about algorithms on servers. This isn't merely an evolution in artistic medium, it is a seismic shift that has irrevocably altered the world of art, demanding a rigorous re-examination of foundational legal principles. The painting in question, not a singular physical artifact, but rather the meta-artwork of digital creation itself, has shattered traditional notions of originality, ownership, and dissemination, creating an urgent imperative for legal analysis. The profound impact of this digital painting stems from its inherent defiance of established physical boundaries and the ease with which it can be replicated, modified, and distributed globally. Where once the unique brushstroke or the singular canvas defined a work's authenticity and value, the digital realm offers infinite perfect copies, each indistinguishable from the original. This unprecedented replicability, coupled with the proliferation of digital platforms for creation and consumption, has fundamentally altered the economic and legal landscape of the art world. It has forced a reckoning with intellectual property laws, primarily copyright, which were conceived in an era of tangible scarcity. The very concept of an original work, once sacrosanct, is now fluid, subject to endless digital manipulation and reinterpretation, leading to novel challenges in defining authorship and protecting creators' rights. This ongoing transformation, playing out in real time within the gallery of masterpieces, necessitates a daily, critical analysis of how our legal systems are adapting, or failing to adapt, to this new artistic reality. The evolving landscape of legal precedent, forming what we might term the gallery of masterpieces, is not a static collection but a dynamic, daily analysis of how established principles adapt to novel challenges. At the heart of this legal artistry lies the artist, the creator whose life, training, and artistic evolution shape the very works that necessitate legal interpretation. In the context of digital art and intellectual property, the artist's journey from traditional forms to digital mediums presents a compelling parallel to the legal system's own evolution. Historically, the training of an artist involved apprenticeships and formal academic study, instilling a deep understanding of technique, composition, and the physical properties of paint and canvas. This rigorous foundation, much like the common law's reliance on centuries of precedent, provided a bedrock for creative expression. However, the advent of digital tools has dramatically altered this trajectory. Today's digital artists often emerge from diverse backgrounds, their training encompassing self-taught mastery of software, online tutorials, and collaborative digital communities, rather than traditional ateliers. This shift in artistic formation directly impacts the legal framework. For instance, the ease of digital manipulation and the creation of derivative works challenge the traditional understanding of originality, a cornerstone of copyright law. The artistic evolution from brushstroke to pixel necessitates a reevaluation of what constitutes an original artistic creation under existing rules. The life of the digital artist is often characterized by rapid innovation and global distribution, with works disseminated instantaneously across borders. This immediacy, while democratizing access to art, simultaneously complicates the enforcement of intellectual property rights, as recognized in the ongoing appellate review of lower court decisions concerning rights and obligations in a digital context. The legal system, in its daily analysis of this gallery of masterpieces, must therefore not only understand the technicalities of digital art but also appreciate the unique life and evolving artistic practice of its creators. The tension between established legal precedent and the fluid nature of digital artistic expression forms the very essence of this contemporary legal canvas. The daily analysis of the gallery of masterpieces necessitates a sophisticated visual deconstruction, particularly when considering the evolving legal landscape surrounding digital art and intellectual property. Composition, traditionally understood as the arrangement of elements within a physical canvas, takes on new dimensions in the digital realm. Here, the frame is often fluid, defined by screen aspect ratios, user interfaces, or even algorithmic curation. A robust legal framework must account for the compositional integrity of a digital work, even when presented in varying contexts. For instance, the intentional cropping or reframing of a digital image, altering its original compositional balance, could constitute a derivative work or an infringement of the artist's moral rights, a concept the Korean Supreme Court has frequently navigated in its appellate review concerning rights and obligations. Color, a fundamental element of visual expression, presents similar complexities. The precise hue and saturation of a digital artwork can be manipulated with ease, raising questions about the authenticity of color reproduction across different display devices. Legal analysis must consider whether significant alterations to a work's color palette, even if unintended by a third party, fundamentally change the artistic expression and thus potentially infringe upon the original creator's rights. The daily analysis, therefore, extends beyond mere aesthetic appreciation to a forensic examination of digital color data. Light, in the context of digital art, moves beyond its traditional role in defining form and mood to encompass the very medium of display. The luminosity of a screen, the ambient light of a viewing environment, and even the digital lighting models employed in 3D renders all contribute to the visual experience. Legal scrutiny must address instances where unauthorized manipulation of digital lighting or the presentation of a work in a manner that fundamentally alters its intended illumination could dilute the artistic intent or create a new, potentially infringing, work. Perspective, once a fixed point of view established by the artist, becomes dynamic in digital art. Interactive installations, virtual reality experiences, and even simple zoom functions allow viewers to alter their perspective, raising questions about what constitutes the original viewing experience. A legal interpretation of perspective in digital art must consider whether the artist's intended perspective is being preserved or whether a new, unauthorized perspective is being imposed. This fluidity challenges traditional notions of a singular, fixed artistic creation. Finally, symbolism, the embedded meaning within an artwork, remains paramount but is subject to new interpretations in the digital age. Digital art often incorporates new symbols, memes, and cultural references that may not be immediately discernible to a traditional legal expert. The daily analysis must therefore include an ongoing education in contemporary digital culture to accurately assess symbolic meaning and identify potential infringements related to misattribution, appropriation, or the unauthorized use of symbolic elements. The Korean Supreme Court's consistent engagement with the interpretation of rights and obligations underscores the necessity for nuanced, context-aware legal analysis in this rapidly evolving domain. The medium and its manipulation stand as a critical lens through which to analyze the evolving jurisprudence surrounding digital art, particularly as the gallery of masterpieces expands to encompass digitally native creations. Traditional copyright doctrine, forged in an era dominated by tangible artworks, grapples with the unique material properties and creative processes inherent in digital media. While a physical painting's medium, oil, acrylic, watercolor, dictates a distinct set of physical characteristics and conservation challenges, digital art presents an entirely different matrix of materiality. Its existence as code, readily replicable and endlessly modifiable, challenges the very notion of a fixed, original masterpiece in a way that physical art rarely does. Brushwork, a hallmark of an artist's distinctive style in traditional painting, translates into complex algorithms, generative art parameters, or unique digital stylus pressure profiles in the digital realm. This digital brushwork is not merely an aesthetic choice, but can be a fundamental component of the work's underlying code, raising questions of copyrightable expression in the algorithms themselves. Layering, a technique historically used to build depth, texture, and narrative in physical paintings, finds its parallel in digital art through successive digital overlays, software-driven alterations, and the integration of multiple media files. Each layer, whether a foundational digital canvas or a final filter application, represents a distinct creative act, yet their composite nature complicates the attribution of originality and the identification of infringing elements. The materials themselves, pixels, algorithms, and data structures, are far removed from canvas, pigment, and binder. The ease with which these digital materials can be copied, altered, and disseminated without degradation fundamentally disrupts the established legal frameworks designed to protect unique, scarce physical objects. As the Korean Supreme Court has repeatedly demonstrated in its appellate review of lower court decisions concerning rights and obligations, such cases often hinge on the court's interpretation of the specific characteristics of the work in question, a principle that now demands nuanced application to the intangible yet complex materials of digital art. The challenge for legal analysis, therefore, is to reevaluate how these foundational artistic techniques, reimagined through a digital lens, conform to or challenge established notions of copyrightable subject matter.